I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Not you, but the other you. The you that stares back at you in the mirror. The one that relentlessly never stops staring back. The you that you can't escape. That one. That one I don't trust. I never knew it was different. We've been taught it's just a figment of our imagination, blah blah. But I finally learned the truth, and now I see the truth. I haven't left my house in days, and I don't think I'll be able to. I see it everywhere. In fact, I see it right now. It's staring right back at me, watching as I type about it, sneering at me while I shudder in fear. My mom had warned me ages ago. She said beware of the mirror man. I thought it was superstitious, and I always thought her death was a coincidence. But now I don't know if I even believe in coincidences anymore. I was 12, and we had mirrors everywhere. I was obsessed with dressing up and seeing how the funky-looking outfits looked on me. But my mom avoided the mirrors like a plague. She never dismissed my hobby, but she would keep her head down, eyes averted away from her reflection, and she never ever looked in the mirror. One day I was being a little bratty, like in typically preteen, and I was getting mad my mom wouldn't stand in the mirror with me and try on these new jackets I got that were brightly colored. She told me no about 100 times before finally snapping and telling me to just put them away and go to my room. I was pissed, stomped off to my room, slammed the door, and yelled out in frustration. Why couldn't she just look at a mirror for once? Not even for me. I threw a toy across the room, hitting the mirror that hung on my door, and it hit the ground, shattering into a couple hundred pieces. One sat leaning against the base of the door where I could see my reflection. From the distance I was at, I couldn't see any details, but it looks like my reflection was grinning. I stood up and walked over to the piece, but it was just my reflection. Whatever. Later that night at dinner I brought down my toy that contained a mirror for makeup. Halfway through dinner I yanked it out, opened up the reflective glass, and shoved it in my mother's face. Complete shock covered her face and she shrieked, before suddenly starting to choke and cough. She was choking on something, and I was laughing about scaring her. My dad jumped up and yelled at me to put it away, before rushing to her side. My mom was now on the ground, on her hands and knees, coughing to no avail. Blood started slowly dripping out of the sides of her mouth, but nothing else came out. She wheezed and coughed. My dad squeezing her stomach to try to clear the obstruction, but nothing worked. She finally wheezed in her last breath, and my dad ran over to the phone, calling an ambulance, but she was already long gone. Since then, I've avoided mirrors best I could. I never really understood why. But here I am 9 years later, and this past weekend was the only